The Moro Saga was an epic that lasted for 2 years. Mostly because it's a monthly comic, but also because, amongst other things, Toriyama and Toyotaro completely ignored the standard 3-act structure. In the span of that 2 years, though, the Dragon Ball story was not in fact a straight line of events. Like many Dragon Ball arcs, the Moro Saga had a few time skips throughout its duration. Some that are a bit confusing towards the end, so I thought we'd take today to do a dive on the material and see if we can get some solid answers on the timeline of the Moro Saga. First, we start with the Broly aftermath, where Goku is shown teleporting back from planet Vampa to give Broly, Chila, and Lemo the capsules and sensu beans. This day is described in the manga as a day where some time has passed since the events of the Broly movie. Given what Chila, Lemo, and Broly were doing when Goku got there, we can infer that it's been probably 1 or 2 days since Broly fought Gogeta. Chila and Lemo needed time to travel to Vampa, Goku and Vegeta had to heal up, Bulma needed time to gather the capsules that Goku would give them. 2 days, 2 days between the events of the Broly movie and the Moro Saga. So fast forward a little bit, Goku and Vegeta team up with the Galactic Patrol, they journey to Namek to fight Moro, consequently get manhandled by Senior Citizen. They black out, wake up 3 days later. Goku and Vegeta fight Moro again, but he still manages to make his wishes to Porunga, the Namekian dragon. And this is where it gets complicated. Namek's Dragon Balls take not 365 days, but 130 days to recharge. Remember that, it's going to be important. Picking back up with our heroes, Goku and Vegeta, eventually joined by the former Lord of Worlds, combine their powers, but are still unable to save planet Namek, and Moro escapes to continue his onslaught on the universe. Meanwhile, Vegeta decides to travel to Yardrat while Goku stays with Miras and the Galactic Patrol. Vegeta's Galactic Patrol ally informs him that the trip will take 1 week, which is also described in the manga as being a few days later. The manga uses this terminology often, right soon after, in fact, when describing Goku and Miras' departure from the Galactic Patrol to train, meaning it's been about another week when this happens. Assuming the events that followed all happened within the same day, including the conflict on Earth, as well as Goku and Miras' arrival on the planet to begin their training, assuming that all happened in 1 day, the next time skipped is in fact the 2-month ceasefire, which was bargained by Jaco. So, 2 months later, Earth's fighters are joined by the Galactic Patrol to meet Moro and the other escapees. The battle for the universe ensues, and Moro is defeated. Again, all of this happened on the same day. At this point, it's been 78 days since the start of the Moro Saga. 2 years in our world, but 2.5 months in the Dragon Ball world. Go figure. The heroes rejoice, and to celebrate, Satan decides to throw them all a feast. Going off of all the attendees that are there, with there being no indication of time passing, nor any of the side characters changing clothes dramatically, we can assume that this is indeed later that same day of the Battle of Moro and Satan's subsequent declaration of the feast. But remember that thing I said was gonna be important? Goku is shown right after the feast, taking the marooned young Namek Eska back to his planet, where they use the Dragon Balls, the Namekian Dragon Balls, to restore all life in the universe, sans Maris. Now again, the Namekian Dragon Balls take 130 days to recharge, being that that is what amounts to a complete year on the new Namek. If this is all indeed happening on the same day as the defeat of Moro, it's only been 74 days since the Dragon Balls were wished upon. Now, with Goku wearing the same clothes and given his past behavior and willingness to leave his family, the most likely scenario here is that instead of waiting on Earth for what would be roughly 56 days, Goku stayed on Namek while he waited to make the wishes. We then do another time skip of quote unquote several days later, where we see Goku, Vegeta, and Jaco on their way to receive their medals. Now, a few days later was confirmed by Vegeta's travel to Yardrat to be about a week. In my opinion, the label of several sounds like a little more than that of a few. So I think we can put this around, I think it would be fair to put this around about a week and a half or 11 days after Goku made his wishes. All's well that ends well, but we have one last time jump. This time being backwards, not forwards. Again, this is where it gets confusing. Upon revealing himself to still be alive, Beerus explains that a few days earlier, aka 7 days earlier, Whis and Beerus met with the Grand Priest who detailed Beerus' revival and Beerus' punishment. A few days earlier, Beerus and Whis were seen heading to Zeno's palace the same day Moro was killed. That was like 63 days ago. It only takes Whis 2 days at his speed to get there. So you could argue that this is just a plot hole, but if we're gonna stay in universe, let's just say that time passes differently in the angel realm. This explanation could be furthered, arguing the fact that in between the moments of Grand Priest revealing Kaioshin and Beerus and Shin giving the Xenos gallop rides as punishment, no time at all is detailed by the narrator to be passing, as if it was all happening in the same day. Again, probably a plot hole, but this wouldn't be the first time in Dragon Ball where we've had realms or rooms with different rules for time. So that being said, this brings us to the end of the Moro arc timeline. A grand total of 145 Dragon Ball days in the making. A story where time meant everything and still somehow absolutely nothing.